Freedom Radio Hour. Live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Freedom Radio Hour. I'm your host, Adam Cruz, and I have my fantastic co-host here,
Eddie Nicholas, and welcome to Capital Radio 91.6 FM, the heartbeat of Sudan. Boom, 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 boom. Adam, what's up? What is going on in the world of music news today?
I don't even know where to begin. You marinate over the following. Which do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about streaming wars? You want to talk about Soundcloud and the hot mess they're in? Or what do you want to talk about the Technique turntables? You marinate over that. Give me your answer after I talk to our folks.
Okay.
This is for our listeners and our viewers. I want to take this time to thank you for tuning in to the Freedom Radio Hour. The Freedom Radio Hour is here not only giving you fantastic music, but we're giving you that music business news and trends from around the globe. So if you're an artist, you're a DJ, a producer, or just a music enthusiast, and you want to know what's happening in the music game, this is the place for you.
Oh, right on.
All right, so with that said, what's your decision? Shall we talk about...
SoundCloud. Since you said SoundCloud first, let's do SoundCloud.
Okay, great.
What's going on with SoundCloud?
So let me give a little history. So SoundCloud was here because it used to be this great tool. If you're a DJ like me, you could do like mashups, two different songs and blend them together and then put your little creation on SoundCloud for free, and then people could download it for free. It wasn't a pay thing, but some people got their reputation improved by creating a SoundCloud account and then creating these creations that most of the time wasn't cleared, meaning that there were definitely copyright infringement issues, but nobody cared and nobody was making any money. Well, SoundCloud, trying to take a bite out of the streaming, they want to become a streaming company too, just like a Spotify, just like a Pandora and Apple Music and Tidal. So what SoundCloud had to do in order to make them attractive to that was to switch up their whole model. So lo and behold, users started to receive takedown notices over and over again.
Oh, I received one, but the funny thing was one of my own songs.
Wait. So talk about that real quick. So you got a takedown notice. Was it on SoundCloud?
Yes.
And it was over a song that is yours?
That is mine.
What did it say?
It told me that, let me try and remember. It said something about infringing and that I did not have I was not the copyright owner. And then if I was the copyright owner, that I had to send X amount of information to be able to post the song back to my page, a song that I wrote and sing.
I find that fascinating. It's like, because it's a bot, which is like a robot. It's just an automated system. It's not a person that's like clicking around all day long on the behalf of SoundCloud. That's funny because some people in our house music world, we love dance music here at the Freedom Radio Hour, as you can hear. So our house music people, sometimes in their naivete, they will think that there's like a person somewhere. So they'll be cursing out somebody on Facebook talking about, you blah, 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 took down my track, but it's just a little automated system. But anyway, SoundCloud tried to be more attractive to possible investors. And so they had to switch up their model, so people started to receive these takedown notices over time. They had millions and millions of active users per month. I mean, somewhere of 175 million active users, activities happening over per month. And now that dwindled down because it started to, over time, become not appealing. You had all these subscribers that started to pay into the service, and now they were just jumping ship because every time you get a takedown notice, you got a strike on your account. So guess what happened after 3 strikes? Your entire account has been deleted.
What?
Your entire account is deleted because the way they see it is that you're a habitual offender and you ought not to be included in their virtual community. When they started to do that, they started to have a problem with their users, and it dwindled down fast, and now everybody's jumped ship and left poor SoundCloud behind, and that kind of deads their dream, kills their dream of being purchased by a company and therefore being transferred over to a streaming service. Now, this kills me because, it's like people think...
I'm killed.
I know, right? I was thinking about...
nerve.
Yeah, because you're thinking about, like, advertisers and what they do, and I'm realizing, what is the big deal? We've been talking about how the downloads on the way down, when people are streaming music more than ever before, and I realize it's all the information that we give them when we sign up. You give your name, your location, you give them rights to all kinds of things. We're going to break that down further. Let's take a break right now. When we come back right here on the Freedom Radio Hour, we're going to talk about the trouble that Spotify's gotten into, and we're talking about these streaming wars right here. Where?
91.6 FM, Heartbeat of Sudan.
Freedom Radio Hour. Live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM.
And we're back. Capital Radio 91.6 FM, the Heartbeat of Sudan. Oh, I just love my voice. What a beautiful people. I'm Eddie Nicholas, and I'm here with my good buddy
Adam Cruz. We're live and direct right here at the Freedom Radio Hour, giving you that music, business, true news, and trends from around the globe. Before we broke, we were talking about what was happening with SoundCloud. It was a haven for DJs like myself who were creating music where the copyright was infringed, I'm just being honest. But we would create mashups, we would create extra beats and remixes and things, and we would share them and create a reputation online. A virtual community existed on SoundCloud for people to share and like and so on. So over time, SoundCloud wanted to change the way they did their business to appeal more attractive to possible investors. They wanted to become like a Spotify.
Okay.
By doing that, they had to basically make deals with labels. They made deals with Sony. They made deals with Universal and others to try to save the music that was up there as much as possible. Well, Sony, whatever they went back and forth for a while, it didn't work out. Sony had to remove a lot of the artists. So SoundCloud started to see this this mass exodus from their product by virtue of trying to do deals with record labels. Why? Because they couldn't deal with the problems around the setup for SoundCloud. It's kind of unlike any other service out there, where Spotify, you have to be like in a box, and in a certain dialogue box, you have to join in, and there's a lot of different things that makes that more plausible for an investor than a SoundCloud, which seems to be more prone to problems.
Okay.
Anyway, so now SoundCloud had to deal with that, but now they're being sued because the ASCAP and BMI that we have here, the British version is PRS for music. They're now suing SoundCloud because whatever the negotiations happened, it didn't go through, but SoundCloud has kept all those titles on, and now they've sued them. So now SoundCloud has to deal with not only being now just unattractive to possible investors, now they have to deal with the legal quagmire of this problem with PRS. So this is your Performance Rights Society fighting on your behalf as an artist, which I think is a good thing that at least they're fighting, because most of the time nobody ever fights at all. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Well, anyway, moving on, the big deal right now is streaming wars. That's what they're calling it. I laugh at that. I feel like there's a Star Wars I should be watching or listening to, you know?
And they're all throwing out streams.
Yes, exactly.
Streams and beans.
Exactly.
Streams and beans.
But basically, what's happening is there's a way in which these companies are trying to one-up each other. Apple Music just launched earlier, you know, that they partnered with Dre Music, Dr. Dre and his Beats headphones. They were able to do exclusive content through Apple, and they've launched. Our Miss Taylor Swift, who was sort of the big spokesperson for not being anti-streaming, but being anti this fraction of a penny per stream they're always talking about. That's for those that don't know, that's what we figured out, not just Eddie and I, but the industry has figured out that what artists are getting at the end of the streaming, every time you listen to a music online, they're getting a fraction of a penny per stream as money for you to hear that. And that's completely wrong, because it's made on the backs of these artists. These huge conglomerates have come up off the backs of the music. So why is it that the artist is only getting the littlest, tiniest piece, whereas the conglomerates are getting the lion's share? Eddie says they should pay 25%, you know? And I feel them wanting to get a much bigger check, because you see the statements when they come in, Eddie, and you know that you're not getting paid nothing hardly. And you're like, why are all these zeros before my number that I'm supposed to be getting, you know? So what's happened now is that Apple has a trial membership. It lasts for 3 months. What they want to do is they were hoping that when they launched, they can get their users to sign up for free for 3 months, and then after the 3-month period, they would be so enamored with the product
that they would sign up.
That they would sign up and pay. Well, the big problem happened is that after the 3 months, what do you think happened?
People jumped shit.
They jumped quick, to the tune of 48% have dropped. So nobody's keeping the trial. Why do you think that is, that they're not keeping the trial? It's supposed to be so great. The app is really simplistic. It's supposed to be easy to figure out. It's supposed to be easy to navigate. It's cheap. It's just like Spotify, $10.
Even getting something for free. And again, they still have not been able to combat how people cannot get things for free.
You are making such a great point. I feel like these conglomerates come up and they want to entice the consumer away from, say, Spotify Spotify or Tidal, which we'll talk about, in favor of, say, Apple, but they don't think about the implications when they make certain decisions. I think it might be time to take another quick break. When we return, I'm going to talk about what's happened with Apple now, what's happening with Spotify, and the trouble that they've gotten into now just by updating their terms and conditions. Right here on the Freedom Radio Hour.
Capital Radio 91.6 FM.
Freedom Radio Hour.
And we're back right here on the Freedom Radio Hour. I'm your host, Adam Cruz, and I have my fantastic co-host here,
Eddie Nicholas, and we're back on 91.6 FM. What's up, Adam? Last we spoke.
Yes, before we broke, we were talking about the streaming wars that are happening. Apple Music came and launched their product. They had a lot of exclusive content. You know, Taylor Swift, she pulled her titles from Spotify, and Apple Music is the only service that has exclusive content for her latest album, right? But not to be outdone, Tidal is doing the very same thing. Do you remember Tidal was trying to be the Bose of streaming? Bose is like the really high-end speaker. They're trying to be like that with streaming. So they're saying you could pay $10 a month like you do with Spotify and you get regular streaming. But if you want the high-end streaming, you pay $20 a month. Okay? And for that, not only do you get that, but you also get exclusive content. They've been able to try to give us the idea initially when they first launched that it was going to be all about the artists. It is about spaces that they create, and evidently the splits, that means the money that you share between Tidal is very favorable towards the artist. I don't know the particulars. I'll find out for next episode.
Yes,
but I understand that the Tidal split is better than all of these other streaming websites. That being said, though, Tidal has not been able to get over and make themselves the powerhouse that they hope to be against Spotify, which is the biggest person out there, the biggest company out there representing streaming right now. Spotify just came out with a report that they had 20 million subscribers. They're up 10 million from last year. So in other words, they're growing 200% in a year. They have 75 million active users. That means that they have 75 million people that are clicking and listening, and nobody's paying anything. Of those 75 million, 20 million are paying. So do the math. It leaves you 55 million people are up on that website and brands and enjoying the music for free. Nobody's paying.
And trust me, Spotify is working hard to try to capture them too.
And you know why? There's a very specific reason. This is why we're talking about implications. There's a big problem with Apple. Apple was trying to get everybody down with their product, but everybody jumped ship after a 3-month trial subscription ended. Well, Spotify has had a problem because they just updated their terms and conditions. You know, when you go on any website, you have to agree, and that's usually all the legal jargon. Well, they quietly updated it where that you granted them access to your location, all your activity. Even when Spotify wasn't on, they could track you. And why are they doing that? Because they want to send that information to who? Advertisers. Advertising is that money. So not only do they get to enjoy the benefit of a 200% growth over a year for Spotify, now they're at 20 million subscribers, now they want to get all your information and they want to sell it to an advertiser so they can make more money. What do you think happened? Everybody figured it out, and all they did was issue an apology saying, sorry, we're gonna look into it, we're gonna make sure we ensure the privacy.
Oh, them folks
of our
knew
people.
what they were doing when they did it. Please, you know, it's not like they sit there and come up to these mistakes. People sit up there and they calculate.
Yes, calculate. All the time, and they know exactly what they're doing. We've broken down on this show before how these deals are being made between major labels and streaming services where they get buy-ins, marketing space, they get advertising space that they then sell off to others. I mean, everybody's trying to make some money because the download is not the money, it's the advertisement and the streaming and the subscriptions.
And the crazy thing, everything is out in cyberspace.
Yes. And then from one day, one person owns it, the next day another person owns it. It's that with the quickness, like a light switch. It's like too crazy.
Click.
Yes, and that's it. You know, I feel like this is our major point for tonight: is the perception of worth. There's a perceived worth about music. My quick point tonight. You know, unlike movies, you don't see this in movies, you don't see this in shoes, you don't see this in any other kind of business where over time the value of it comes down. It's like music, you need it more than ever before. It's a very personal thing, so we need it. But we're so quick to cheapen the value of it. Why? Because we download for free, we stream for free, we bootleg, we don't pay what the true value is for the art. And we talked about the beginning of this. The quick history is that, when they got together and digital music came to be, and iTunes and Apple was selling iTunes and computer devices, we didn't lobby enough to get a good price to start with, so the download was at 99 cents. That was the nail in the coffin. We've talked about that. But having said that, what do you do now? You just die? Or do you try to figure out a way to make this work? I wonder, why is it that with music being so personal that we can't get to a place where there's an upward trajectory in terms of the pricing? I think it's just going further down, and it's really confusing because it's not unlike any other product that you could equate to. Maybe you guys can do that. Think about something else and how we can really figure out why is this happening and how to overturn this. And this, I mean, the money that's being earned back or being given back to the artist needs to increase.
Yes.
So all we were talking about is how can we make it so that we can continue to make music
and a living.
Yes, and a living, and you get to enjoy the music, and it's a fair exchange. That's all the time we have right now for the Freedom Radio Hour.
Yes.
Definitely check on all these articles we have posted on our website. Definitely check in and leave a comment under everything that we're posting, because we'd love to hear from what you have to say.
Feedback.
Let us know what you think about streaming and all this news. Like, how does it impact your life? Maybe you don't care about music in the Valley, and I want to hear about that too, because I want to know why.
On Capital Radio
91.6.
The Heartbeat of Sudan. Much peace and love. We're out of here.
See you next time. Peace, y'all.
From my body to the